Hey everybody, it's Silver Seeker, and today we're going to be talking about some things that brand new stackers should really know when getting into it. Now, we're not talking in this video about, whether or not you should stack, how you should store it, what your percentage of precious metals versus other investments should be. This is literally technical information, like what is spot? What is premium? What's the difference between spot and premium rounds? What is 90% constitutional silver? What's the math? How does all of that work? So if you're a brand new silver stacker, hopefully this video has some information for you. I see a lot of questions on my channel from people like this one, and this one that just popped up on the screen where, it makes me realize that not everybody is as seasoned in stacking as a lot of other people are. Obviously, there's a lot of new people getting into it. So I figured I'd go through this video and cover it. Now, if you are not new to stacking, this video may not be useful for you, so feel free to turn it off at any time. But if you're new to stacking, or if you just want to watch it anyway and see what I have to say about these technical aspects of silver stacking, then feel free to stick with us and let's get into it. But really quick, guys, before we do, if you like videos like this, if you want to learn more about silver stacking, gold stacking, coin collecting, coin roll hunting, and more, do me a favor, subscribe and click my bell so you don't miss my future video notifications. Okay, guys, so we're going to start with what is spot. So spot is basically what silver is trading for on the stock market, or well, the COMEX. I get people criticize me all the time. I use the term stock market, but when I'm talking to people, I'm usually trying to talk to everyone that will understand the same thing. I mean, everyone knows that when we're talking about silver, we're talking about the COMEX, except for possibly some new stackers might not even know what the COMEX is, and they just see that silver is traded on a market, and, stock market just talks to them. But yes, COMEX, or Commodities Exchange, is what silver and gold are traded on. And spot, as you can see on the screen, which as of right now is 26.18 as I'm recording this, is basically what silver is currently trading for in the COMEX. Now, COMEX is basically future contracts and paper contracts. That's where all the paper silver is traded, and that's what determines what spot price is. So if you guys are ever wondering about that, there are apps you can download on your phone. There's Kitco Gold Live, which is the one I recommend. You can even go to my website at coolstacks.com and go to melt values, and it will actually have live spot on there as well. There's a lot of places that you can get the spot of gold and silver online. But again, spot is just what silver trades for on the COMEX. Okay, now in this one, and you guys probably saw one of the questions that popped up on the intro of this video, what is ounces and troy ounces? Well, a regular ounce is called an avoirdupois ounce, or ADVP, and that is what most people, especially in the US, consider an ounce. So that's 16 ounces. In fact, I put some math together. That's 16 ounces per pound. That's 28.3495 grams per ounce. But precious metals are not traded on that scale. Precious metals are traded on troy. Now, you'll hear a lot of people say, all right, I need 5 ounces of silver, or 10 ounces of silver, or what does 1 ounce of silver trade for? Well, that's because, precious metal people realize that when we say ounce, we do mean troy ounce. The silver is traded on the COMEX in the troy ounce form. It's traded, physically on troy ounce. It's not traded on avoirdupois ounce. So you can do the math and convert if you want to, but there's really no need if you just realize that when you're talking about silver, you don't have to say troy ounce, because everyone knows that you mean troy ounce when you say ounce. If I go to buy 10 ounces of silver, I know that I mean 10 troy ounces of silver, not 10 avoirdupois ounces. All right, so this one right here is what is a premium? So basically a premium is what you pay over spot to get a physical ounce of silver. Now, there's cost involved in the trading of physical silvers. There always has been. Sometimes the premiums that you pay are less. Right now, they're more. In fact, they're quite a bit more right now. And what that means is, like, let's say you go into your local coin shop and you want to buy 5 ounces of silver. If silver's trading for $25 an ounce, you're not going to be able to buy that silver for $125 for your 5 ounces, because you're going to need to pay the premium. So the premiums are kind of high right now, but sometimes they're lower, sometimes they're higher. Some people, they wait till the premiums are down. But let's just say, the premium on silver rounds is +2. That means you would actually pay $2 per ounce over spot for your silver round. So if silver was trading 27 for 25 and the premium was 2, then you would actually pay $27 per ounce. So the reason for that, if you guys are curious, why is there a premium? Well, with physical silvers, with physical trade, there's overhead. The coin shops have rent to pay. Of course, they have to pay themselves. They may have employees that they have to pay, and all of that has to factor into them doing business. So, of course, they need to make a little bit of money when they're buying and selling. Unlike the COMEX, buying and selling the paper contracts you can do with very, 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 very little overhead. Physical shops, they have that overhead. So they have to keep all of that into consideration when they're buying and selling their silver. So, in a weak silver market, usually when you sell generic silver, you're actually selling it back of spot. So you might take your ounces of silver into your shop, and if it's trading for 25, they may offer you 24.50. Whereas in a strong market like right now, you could usually get $1 or $2 over spot for your generic because it's trading for more. But essentially, again, a premium is just how much you pay over spot for your silver. Okay, so next up we have premium versus generic silver. Now, I just spoke about the premium that you pay on silver over spot for physical silver. There's also something called generic silver versus premium silver. Now, you're going to pay a premium on both of these items, but the difference is how much you pay. So the stuff you see on the left hand of the image here is like generic silver bars and generic silver buffalo rounds, and basically your generic rounds. Those are usually, when you're buying pure silver in bullion form, those are usually what you get the cheapest or the closest to spot or the lowest premium. The stuff on the right, you have silver eagles, South African cougarans, silver maple leafs. There's a ton more. There's the China silver pandas. There's the Australian kookaburras and kangaroos. Stuff like that, generally you pay a little bit more over spot to get than you do the generic stuff on the left. Now, when you're going back to sell these things, you do sometimes get that premium back. In fact, with silver eagles is a really good example. Let's say right now you wanted to sell your 1 ounce silver buffaloes and you had some silver eagles to sell, and you call some local coin shops. They're generally going to offer you more per ounce for your silver eagles than they are your silver buffaloes. So when you're buying the premium silver, keep in mind that you probably will get a little bit of that premium back, but of course, it's not guaranteed because as the markets fluctuate, you don't really know what's going to go on. If silver jumps up, to $100 an ounce, I'm pretty sure people aren't going to be worried about if it's a silver eagle or if it's a silver buffalo. They're just going to be worried about if it's silver. But in general, in a normal market, you are going to get more for your premium silver than you would your generic silver, so long as you keep it in that brand new pristine condition. So that is the difference between premium silver and generic silver. Okay, so in our last one, let's talk about constitutional math. Now, when people are talking about constitutional silver, they're actually talking about 90% silver. They're not talking about 40% silver or silver war nickels, which I also have on the screen. But I figure since all of that is US minted silver coins for circulation, we would talk about it all. But keep in mind, when someone's talking about constitutional silver, if they're using that term, or even if they're using the term junk silver, they are talking about 90% dimes, quarters, and half dollars. So the math, this is another question that I see pop up on the channel pretty often. Someone said, I don't understand your math. Could you go into it in more detail? Well, basically what it is even though, and this is why people get confused, the dimes, quarters, and half dollars are 90% pure silver. When you have $1 or two half dollars or 4 quarters or 10 dimes or a half and 2 quarters. Anyway, when you have $1 of face value, you don't have an ounce of silver, because they don't even weigh a full ounce. Like if you put 2 half dollars on the scale, they would not weigh a full ounce. So if you were to put those on a scale and then multiply the weight by 0.9, that would be how much silver you have. Now, the beauty of constitutional silver is that they have a fixed math value. So the amount of silver in 10 dimes is the same as what is in 4 quarters, is the same as what is in 2 half dollars. So 10 dimes will have the same silver as a half dollar and 5 dimes, same exact silver. And what that comes out to is 0.715 ounces of silver per dollar face value. Now, when they originally minted these, I do want to be clear for those that are going to do some naysaying comments, the official math is 0.725, but generally 0.715 is used for trading circulated constitutional silver because of wear. So obviously, these coins were used for decades and they wore down a little bit. So obviously they're missing just a little bit of their silver, and that's why people use 0.715. But generally, when you're buying and selling constitutional silver, you don't really need to throw it on a scale, because you know that if you have $1 of face value of 90%, let's say you have dimes, you know that you have 0.715 ounces of silver. Now, I also put the half dollars of 1965 to 1970, which is your 40% silver. So when they stopped producing 90% silver in 1964, in 1965, all the way up until 1970, the half dollars remained 40% silver. Now, with those, they are 40% silver, and per dollar face value, so in other words, for every 2 half dollars, there is 0.295 ounces of silver. So if you were to take spot and multiply it by 0.295, that is how much $1 of 40% half dollars is worth. Just like if you were to take spot and multiply it by 0.715, that is how much $1 of 90% silver is worth. And then finally, other US silver we have down here is the war nickel. The war nickels are from 1942 to 1945. And if you'll notice, I did highlight in red on the back of that war nickel the mint mark, because in 1942, only about half of them were silver. They didn't switch over to doing silver until about halfway through the year. And so if you look at the top of the Monticello, there is a big mint mark. If that mint mark is there, it is a silver war nickel. If that mint mark is not there, then it is not a silver war nickel, and it's just nickel and copper. So the war nickels, again, 1942 to 45, you have 35% silver, and every nickel has 0.05626 ounces of silver, or per dollar face value, yes, this is more than 90%, per dollar face value, there's 1.12 ounces of silver in war nickels. So for every 20 war nickels to make up a dollar, there is actually more silver per dollar face value in war nickels than there is in even 90% silver, even though war nickels are only 35% silver. So keep that in mind. And then with constitutional math, guys, we also have the US silver dollars. So the US silver dollars are also 90% silver, but they're actually a little bit heavier overall than your dimes, quarters, and half dollars per dollar face. So as you can see, as I have on the chart here, it's 0.77 ounces per dollar face. The actual math is 0.7734, but for the same reason, we cut a little bit off to account for wear, so everyone just rounds it to 0.77. Now, generally with silver dollars, you're not going to get them anywhere near as close to spot as you're going to get dimes, quarters, and half dollars for. Generally, they carry a little bit higher of a premium, but they are considered constitutional silver. And additionally, when you're buying calls, which is your heavily circulated common dates, usually silver does, the amount of silver, the cost of silver does factor into that price, depending on the dealer and where you are. So there you go, guys, 90% silver and 0.77 ounces of silver per dollar face value for your peace dollars and Morgan dollars. And things like that, US silver dollars. So there you go, guys. That is what I had for you today. Again, this is really just for new stackers so they can understand some of the math and the terms that go into silver stacking. And I hope that that gives you a little bit of a start or a head start into it, at least explained a few of the terms. Like I said, when you see comments like what popped up on the channel, it really just makes you think maybe I should just make a video. And now I can reference this video. If anyone ever asks any questions like that, I can just say, hey, check out this video. I explained it in detail. And rather than typing a long comment that may not understand, they can watch this and hopefully they help. It helps them understand it even better. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Like I said, I appreciate you being here. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and the bell so you don't miss my future video notifications, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I did leave a video above you can check out if you haven't seen it yet. I also want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to my awesome channel supporters scrolling right there on the right hand of the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.